Happy Thursday, everybody. It is the 11th day of June, 2020. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I'm Dan Kuntz, your host. Thanks for starting your day with us here on the NCW Life Channel. It is a busy, jam-packed program for you today. Lots of news, lots of sports to get to, lots of weather to get to, as you can see behind me from our cross camera. That's the very definition of an isolated shower. It's raining outside of our studios, and the sun is out. It happens this time of the year. We have a the atmosphere is unstable. It's the instability in the atmosphere is giving us what we're giving us. And could see a thunderstorm today. We've got a lot of weather to get to, lots of things to get to. All the usual things apply. And in the back half of the hour, I had a chance to sit down via Skype with Ian Sanderson. Ian is the new head coach of the Wenatchee AppleSox. He got the gig last autumn at the end of the previous season, but he hasn't been able to do anything with his team, but they got some plans. They're keeping their fingers crossed. And of course, the big news today, I can get my haircut again. It's been 4 months to the day since I got my haircut. I usually get my haircut about every 6 weeks, so I'm way behind, but we got approval for both Chelan and Douglas counties to move on to modified phase 1, phase 1.5, if you will. Things are going to start turning around. It looks like that'll be our top news story. Let's take you around the valley with our Valley View cameras, see what we're looking at today. And as I mentioned before, that's an isolated shower. Look at that. Isn't that just amazing? It looks like it's raining pretty good up in the East Wenatchee area and off in the Sunny Slope area. Looks like Badger Mountain might be getting a little bit of rain as well. And then at the lower part of your screen, you see sunlight and shadows. Yeah, it's odd, but it happens. Beautiful view from our cross camera. It's very strange when the sun is shining and it's raining. It's an interesting phenomenon. To be honest with you, it's kind of cool. Camera number 2, where are we off to? Megan gets to decide. Looks like Monument Hill to me, Megan. Yeah, okay. Hi, Quincy. Good to see you. I've seen a little more blue sky, perhaps, out in the Quincy area. But again, the big story today, we had a chance of some thunderstorms later on today and tomorrow. It's going to be mild. Temperatures will be above normal. But it's going to be kind of muggy, kind of cloudy. Some rain. Obviously, we already have some rain, at least here in Wenatchee Valley. Camera number 3. Wow, yeah, it's bad. Is that Birch Mountain? That's Badger Mountain. I'm sorry, Badger Mountain. I get those confused sometimes. Good to see you up there, folks. With a waving week and sure smells sweet when the sun comes right behind the rain. Wow, that's actually apropos today. Way down there is the Wenatchee Valley. That is just an unbelievable, spectacular view from high above the East Wenatchee bench. And camera number 4. Sometimes I lose track of what cameras we're on. Ooh, that's the Lake Wenatchee camera. Look at that. That's neat. Welcome to Scotland. That's a cool view there. Look at the low clouds and the fog forming around the Lake Wenatchee area. Dirty Face Mountain. To your right, the Cater Glen Golf Resort is at the bottom of your screen. A spectacular view from Lake Wenatchee. It's folks who live up there probably have a fire going this morning, even though it's the 11th day of June. Great view there. Good stuff, Megan. Nicely done. Showing a little creativity there. We like that around the old broadcast Metroplex. Good stuff. All right, it's 4 minutes after the hour. A couple of slides to show for you. First of all, we're talking about it. Here's your thunderstorm potential for today and Friday. Unlike the last couple of days, they were thinking Friday we might have a better chance here in the valley for an isolated thunderstorm. Now they're thinking maybe like today. There's a chance of a thunderstorm both today and tomorrow for pretty much the entire swath of eastern Washington. Of course, the highest threats for thunderstorms comes in the afternoon and evening hours when it's at its warmest. You can get those thunder cells that pop up, and then you got wind and rain, so we'll keep a very close eye on that. Again, there is a lot of instability in the atmosphere. Warming temperatures, systems coming in. It's a mixed bag. So take a look, and that's your chances of some thunderstorms. That's courtesy of the National Weather Service. And then a big cool down comes this weekend. People want to get out and about now that we're in phase 1.5. Less restrictions, but it's going to cool way down. This is the change in the high temperatures between Friday and Saturday. So Saturday is going to be in the Wenatchee Valley about 11 degrees cooler than today's high. Big cool down coming because there's another system coming in. So we're going to have some wet weather. It's going to be cooler And that wet and cool weather is going to linger, by the way, into next week as we get closer and closer to summertime. So get ready for some temperature changes big time come Saturday. All right, Patriot Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling gives your home a hug from the National Weather Service. Here comes the roller coaster again. Lots and lots of clouds today. High of about 81 degrees. An afternoon thunderstorm is a possibility. We've already got some light rain all over. It's going to be hit and miss. Thunderstorms possible once we get to 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll keep a very close eye on that. Grant will have more with the news at 5 o'clock tonight. 40% chance of showers tonight. Lots of clouds. 58 for the overnight low. We're going to have some sun breaks on Friday, but still, we cannot rule out a thunderstorm. And we will have a chance of rain, hit and miss showers on Friday as well. But we're going to see a little more sunshine tomorrow. And then look at the bottom dropping right out on Saturday. System comes in on Friday night. It'll be windy. 53 for the overnight low. As the system comes in, the wind's going to be picking up in intensity pretty good on Friday night. We've had a lot of wind this spring. And then Saturday, if you have outdoor plans, you might want to pack a bumper chute. Going to be cloudy. Could see some light rain. And temperatures only about 69 degrees. Our normal high this time of the year is about 77 degrees. So slightly above normal today and tomorrow, and then well below normal on Saturday. Sunday looks pretty good. Quite a bit of sunshine and a high of 73. That's the between systems day on Sunday. Monday, right back to some cloudy skies and a chance of rain. Temperatures slightly below normal. Where it's been a crazy week weather-wise. It is, of course, still spring, but as we get closer and closer to summer and we get longer and longer days, we got 15 hours and 54 minutes of daylight. This is one of the things that could very easily happen. So keeping a very close eye. Again, the best chance of thunderstorms for the Wenatchee Valley looks to be this afternoon and tonight, not so much on Friday. We're going to take a break and come back. We have a lot of news to get to. It was a very busy news day yesterday and even a little bit this morning as well. The news is 1 minute away. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel.
Hi, my name is Manuel Navarro, Chief Operating Officer at Columbia Valley Community Health. Patient safety is our top priority, including providing care that just can't wait. With enhanced safety precautions, we want to ensure you that we're able to continue providing safe and efficient in-person care at our clinic. From in-car check-in, ongoing screening, immediate rooming, your family can get the safe care that they deserve here at Columbia Valley Community Health.
Hey folks, Carrie from Blueberry Hills in Manson. Remember the good old days? Sunday supper at Grandma's and the best recipes being passed down through generations? Well, come on out to Blueberry Hills and find amazing food with huge portions at family-friendly prices. From Benedict's to burgers to fresh fruit pies, there is something for everyone. Don't miss Blueberry Hills, where you pick, you sit, you eat, and you visit. wildaboutberries.com.
We're back at 8 minutes after the hour, 57 degrees. We got some light rain in pockets here in the Wenatchee Valley. Other spots have sun breaks, and we'll see highs in the lower 80s. Lots of clouds, some light rain, and a late afternoon, early evening thunderstorm is not out of the question. Here's what's making headlines. Chelan and Douglas counties can now move into what's called modified Phase 1 conditions under Governor Jay Inslee's Safe Start plan. So that's the first step in the state-mandated 4-phase process to restart commerce as we recover from the COVID-19 pandemic. So Chelan and Douglas counties become the second and third counties to achieve a modified Phase 1 status. 24 counties have moved fully into Phase 2. The modified status allows businesses and activities to reopen in phases so long as they can show adequate social distancing measures and health standards are in place. Washington Secretary of Health John Wiseman announced the decision for Chelan and Douglas counties in a press release late yesterday afternoon. The Chelan-Douglas Health District submitted, of course, its proposal on Friday, and it was approved. Subject to the conditions of the Department of Health, the most visible change for businesses under the modified status would be in restaurants. Restaurants allowing indoor seating of up to 25% capacity, provided that no tables are closer than 6 feet to each other, and outdoor dining for up to 50% capacity. Again, that 6-foot distance needs to be observed. Also allowed to operate at 25% occupancy, pet groomers, real estate services, and other personal and professional services, all the operations, of course, are subject to additional mandatory guidelines published by the state. Now, to move through the phases, each county has to demonstrate adequate local hospital bed capacity as well as adequate personal protective equipment to help keep health care workers safe. They also must aim for a COVID-19 transmission rate of 25 or fewer new cases per 100,000 residents over a 14-day period, and hospitalizations must remain flat or decreasing. Chelan and Douglas counties show a favorable hospitalization trend, just 2.6% of the hospital beds taken up by coronavirus patients on average. The transmission rate this week was 30 per 100,000 in Chelan County and 17 per 100,000 in Douglas County. When demonstrators marched in Wenatchee's Black Lives Matter event on Saturday, armed bystanders were there to greet them, most of them saying they just wanted to keep the event safe. One of the armed men was an elected Douglas County Commissioner, Kyle Steinberg. He said he was there not in his official capacity, but as the owner of a Wenatchee business who wanted to protect his property. Steinberg would not consent to be recorded for an interview, but he told NCW Life he had heard rumors of possible agitators which might cause trouble during the event. Wenatchee police said there were no arrests or reports of violent incidences related to the march. You can read the full story on our website at ncwlife.com. In an announcement Wednesday morning, as you probably know by now, the North Central Washington Fair Board has decided to cancel this year's fair because of COVID-19. Board members say all possible avenues or changes were explored, but none could solve the problems created by Washington's Safe Start reopening plan. The board also said they do not have the means to temperature check each visitor, to have social distancing in food lines, vendors, the carnival area. The press release went on to say that the NCW Fair can't ask race, rodeo, and concert fans to sit 6 feet apart or limit the number of attendees. The Fair Board said they did not have many people working, that they had a lot of people working diligently on a plan that would allow the fair to have a livestock show for the kids in the area that have worked at raising their animals and want to show them off and possibly win some blue ribbons. But the fair won't happen this year. A kidnapping suspect from San Antonio was arrested Tuesday morning in Moses Lake, and his 16-year-old victim has been reunited with her family. Moses Lake police say the search for 28-year-old Andres Hernandez began last week after they received information he was in Grant County. Monday night, Sergeant Dean Gaddis located Hernandez's vehicle in the 1100 block of Grape Drive, and after setting up surveillance, police took him into custody. The next morning, the girl was found in a nearby apartment unharmed. The teen had been missing since May 25th. That's when security footage showed her getting into Hernandez's vehicle outside of a Domino's in San Antonio, where they both worked. The girl's father, who talked to her on Tuesday before leaving for Washington State, told KENS 5 News in San Antonio that she said she'd been taken at gunpoint. Moses Lake police said Hernandez had a pistol when he was arrested. Authorities in Texas did not issue an Amber Alert after her disappearance because they initially believed she had gotten into the car willingly. Moses Lake police said there is an ongoing investigation into Hernandez's activities while in Grant County, and local charges are expected to follow. In addition, Moses Lake Police, U.S. Marshals, and the Washington State Patrol and the Grant County Sheriff's Office assisted in the search. The father of a child who died from abuse in 2017 is suing the State Children's Protective Services Agency for allegedly neglecting his case. Rustin Acterson of East Wenatchee was just 2 years old when he died of massive brain trauma consistent with child abuse. Douglas County Sheriff's detectives never proved who inflicted the fatal injuries, but Rustin's mother, Elena Hurd, pled guilty to felony mistreatment and received a 1-year jail sentence. Now, in his lawsuit filed back on May 26th in Chelan County, Rustin's father, Ian Atkerson, says CPS failed to adequately investigate earlier injuries Rustin suffered while in his mother's care, which might have prevented his death. The state has yet to file a response in this case. Moses Lake police say a call about a tryst in a gas station bathroom led to the seizure of nearly 2 pounds of illegal drugs on Saturday. Now, according to the police, just after 1 a.m, they were called to Ernie's Fuel Stop on Kittleson Road after a couple had gone into a restroom together and stayed there an inordinate amount of time. As 25-year-old Raymond Shrouds and 19-year-old Deanja Charlo of Pablo, Montana finally exited the convenience store, the officer said he saw Shrouds shove a bottle of mango Snapple down his pants. When confronted, Shrouds reportedly gave the officer his brother's name, but it turned out his brother had a warrant for his arrest. Shrouds was immediately arrested and searched. Police say they found cocaine in Shroud's pocket, and after obtaining a search warrant, they found over a pound of methamphetamine and just under a pound of heroin in their vehicle, a 2002 Audi registered to Charlotte. Now, because of the restrictions at the jail, police said they were unable to book the couple, so they were released pending charges. By the way, police later discovered that Shrouds actually paid for the Snapple. Wenatchee resident Ben Holton did a series of on-camera interviews with folks at last weekend's protest march about what it's like to be an African American here in the Wenatchee Valley. Here's a look at some of what Ben heard, and we hear now from Wenatchee resident Tony.
So we're here in Wenatchee, Washington. And here in Wenatchee, it's, less than 1% of the people are black. And, really I wanted to come out and just see what's it like to be that person. I realized that, there's probably a lot of us that, don't feel like that we're doing anything racist, or we don't feel racist. Does the black community feel included? And I want to make sure, like everybody feels that this is a good place to live. And so we're just here asking stories, just finding out, what it's like to be a black person living in our community, and are we doing a good job to make sure that they're included, and are we making our community a better place to live for everyone?
I honestly do feel invited.
I was going to say that's going to be a long interview.
I honestly do feel invited.
You can't really put that into people.
I mean, at first I was a little scared coming in. But once I actually got here and, got to interact with some folks and things of that nature, I enjoyed it. I love it. I already told my family I don't plan on moving back because I actually love being here.
Where are you from originally?
D.C., Maryland area. I haven't even experienced anything like that. I mean, regardless of where you go, you're going to have, one or two folks that are like that. I haven't experienced anything like that. And, again, the most I think that can possibly be done to make it a little more, inviting or a little more welcoming is continuing to do things like this. You know what I mean? Which is, like I said, one of our goals. Just continue to show the community that, it is diverse. You know what I mean? We do have folks and people of color, here and wanting to be involved and wanting to, be a part of the community. So I think if we continue to do those, show these, have these sort of events, we'll be fine.
We have one more item of business to touch on before we find out what we're working on for the news tonight at 18 minutes after the hour. Back on January 14th, we've reported here on a two-vehicle accident on Highway 28 near Trinidad. That's when a car being driven by 33-year-old Josh Vines of East Wenatchee swerved, trying to avoid a dead deer on the highway, and instead he struck another vehicle. Vines suffered severe brain injuries in that accident, and we have now learned this morning that Josh, in fact, passed away. Josh Vines passed away from those injuries that he suffered back on January 14th. He leaves behind a wife and 3 children. He would have been 34 years old next week. It's 18 minutes after the hour. It'll be another busy news day on this Thursday in the bullpen with a preview of what we're working on for the news. Here's the anchor, Grant Olson.
Good morning, Dan. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, we continue with the Ben Holton feature on what it's like to be an African American living in the Wenatchee Valley. I'll have your warm and wet North Central Washington weather forecast, and Eric Grandstrom will have a look at sports. That and all the day's news coming up tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. Hope to see you then. Dan?
Thank you, Grant. I always make a point to watch the news, and don't forget you can watch the news on demand. We have it up and running on our website, ncwlife.com, right around 5 o'clock. So if you prefer to consume your news on your smart device and you don't have to worry about catching it on TV at just the right amount of time, you can watch it on demand. And we also have our newscasts archived. Look at the bottom of the screen. That's all the different ways you can get a hold of us. You can email us news at ncwlife.com. You can drop us a note via our website, or you can go to our Facebook page and drop us a note via Facebook Messenger. Going to take a break. When we come back, high school sports this fall. What's the plan going forward? We'll talk about that in 1 minute. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel. contractors, furniture makers, and weekend do-it-yourselfers around north central Washington will tell you that Lombard's Hardwood Supply is the place to get what you need. Lombard's full millwork shop can handle jobs large or small. Lombard's has a full line of interior and exterior doors available, as well as custom barn doors. From alderwood to zebrawood and everything in between, it's Lombard's Hardwood Supply on School Street in Sunny Slope. Like us on Facebook and check out our monthly special.
No calories, no sweeteners, all smiles. Bubbly, sparkling water. Crack a smile.
21 minutes after the hour, this is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. It's 57 degrees. Again, some isolated showers, cloudy, rainy, and a late afternoon thunderstorm is possible. Let's take a look at sports. Back in its June 7th meeting, the WIAA Executive Board was asked to set philosophical guidelines regarding the anticipated reopening of schools and activities for the upcoming school year. Now, this was done by answering 4 questions that were formulated by the National Federation of High Schools. Question number 1, will the WIAA conduct a regular season or championship if schools statewide are closed to in-person learning? Well, the answer to that is yes, assuming that the Department of Health supports the recommendation. At this time, the WIAA plans to begin the fall season as scheduled, but it's also examining a delayed start of September 7th for fall sports and September 5th for football. Question number 2, will the WIAA conduct an athletics activities regular season or championship if schools are closed only to COVID-19 hotspots in Washington State? And although not ideal, the WIAA intends to conduct regular season and or championship events even if all schools aren't able to participate. Question 3, will the WIAA conduct a regular season in sports deemed lower risk for COVID-19 transmission while canceling those sports considered higher risk? The answer to that, the WIAA intends to conduct all scheduled fall athletics and activities that are approved by the Department of Health. Question 4, are there recommendations unique to Washington that we need to take into consideration when developing our plans for the next school year? This can include modified seasons, modified rules, etc. The WIAA intends to create work groups to recommend and evaluate modifications to the rules. It also recommended to the Executive Board that they prioritize modified season options to determine decision deadlines. Hope we clear that up for you. The Mariners used their 6th overall pick in yesterday's draft. No big surprise here. They took a big old right-handed pitcher by the name of Emerson Hancock. He's 21 years old. He's out of Georgia. He becomes the 3rd straight first-round pitcher chosen by the Mariners in the last 3 drafts. Amateur scouting director Scott Hunter was pleased with Seattle's selection.
Unbelievable track record in the SEC, 6'4", 215 pounds. True power arm with the ability to have with ability and a body that's physically built to last for innings and pitch at the top of the rotation. We're really excited going into a season like this that we would even have a shot at Emerson, since probably midway through last year, towards the end of the season, he was considered to be in contention for the first pick in this year's draft. So once again, our scouts did a wonderful job. John Wiedenbauer, Jesse Capellish, the entire analytical staff, to put us in a position to really have an opportunity to get a player of this caliber at pick 6. And it's something that we've talked about a lot here since I've been here 3 years ago, saying not that only we want players that have great ability that can impact, the field, but off the field as well, that are wired a little different. And this kid is definitely that. Not only is he a special player, he's a special kid that is wired just like those guys, really cares about winning and also doing not only right on the field, but off the field.
Mariners, by the way, have 5 more picks in today's final 4 rounds of the draft. The Tigers made the 3rd baseman Spencer Torkelson the number 1 overall pick in yesterday's draft. He's an Arizona State Sun Devil. He joins the likes of David Price, Steven Strasburg, Bryce Harper, and Garrett Cole as the number 1 overall pick. In fact, here's a look at the top 5 selections in yesterday's draft by the Orioles, the Marlins, the Royals, the Blue Jays, and the aforementioned Tigers. In 30 selections, 19 of which were college players, 11 were graduating seniors out of high school, 11 pitchers, 10 infielders, 6 outfielders, 3 catchers, and a partridge in a pear tree were all drafted. The draft continues with rounds 2 through 5, plus compensatory and competitive balance rounds this afternoon at 2 o'clock. A very bearded Ian Sanderson will join me a little bit later here on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley to talk a little baseball. Sanderson, of course, was hired last September to be the new head coach of the Wenatchee AppleSox. His first season claimed by the coronavirus pandemic. Wenatchee and Portland are the last 2 teams still standing in the West Coast League that hope to play some form of baseball this summer. Sanderson says it'll be an opportunity for training.
As long as we can get into phase 3, we're going to try to provide something for the community. And that was the first time we talked about it publicly, is we're going to offer some training 3 to 4 days a week in Wenatchee. And then we're going to try to set up, I guess the best way we've come up for is more of a sandlot type baseball. Get as many guys, high school guys and college guys. I think it's important to involve all baseball players that missed out this year. Give them an opportunity to get on a field. And so we're going to do that. We're going to try to intermix teams. We're going to try to put, the college pitchers that we get against college hitters. And then some of the high school guys are going to mix in with that. So it doesn't, it's not a little lopsided, but we're just going to try to provide an outlet for all the baseball players that missed 2020.
My entire interview with Coach Sanderson, of course, will air in the back half of this program. Now, stay tuned tonight. We hope to have a big announcement coming your way regarding the Wenatchee Valley Super Oval and us. The NCW Live Channel, we're going to have a meeting with Jeremy Anders, the general manager of the WVSO, this morning. Keep your fingers crossed, race fans. We may have a happy announcement for you tonight when Eric does the sports at 5, 6, and 10. And finally, a friendly reminder, graduation ceremonies for the class of 2020 continue here on the NCW Live Channel, and that includes tonight. We'll have the broadcast debut of Westside High School's commencement exercises tonight at 7 o'clock. We'll re-air the Eastmont ceremony tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. On Saturday, you can watch the Wenatchee High School 116th commencement exercise at 2 o'clock, Cascade at 5, Quincy at 7, right here on the NCW Life Channel. 28 minutes after the hour. I had 3 obscure holidays to choose from. Today is National German Chocolate Cake Day. Probably should have picked that one. I try to avoid the food ones whenever I possibly can because they're just so easy to do. National Making Life Beautiful Day. I'm all for that. But it's Corn on the Cob Day because summer is almost here. The corn is going to be harvested and it's time to, have a little corn on the cob. Who doesn't love corn on the cob? I had to wear braces for about 2 years back in high school. The first meal I had, the day I got my braces removed, Mom said, "What do you want?" And I said, "Corn on the cob," because you can't eat corn on the cob when you have braces on. I got some fun facts about corn. The average ear of corn is anywhere between 12 to 14 inches long. A typical healthy corn plant is between 6 to 12 feet tall. The root system of a healthy corn plant grows 5.5 feet into the ground. That's a serious root system. It has to because it could fall over anyway. Most ears of corn have about 800 kernels in 16 rows. It takes about 27,000 kernels to make a bushel of corn. When you go to the grocery store, corn is an ingredient in about 3,000 different items that you can buy at your local grocery store. And by the way, how much corn is in corn flakes? 8%. By the way, don't serve corn on the cob at a formal occasion. Gets all over the place. Corn on the cob. Today in history, it's June 11th, 1776, 244 years ago. The Continental Congress knew that they needed to put their grievances about King George III in writing. Hey, if we're gonna divorce the homeland, we have to file divorce papers. So the Continental Congress got together and they said, we need to write all this down, tell them how mad we are. And so they appointed what they called the Group of Five: Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Roger Sherman, and Robert Livingston. They said, you're the Committee of Five, you write it all down. All right, and then, Bob and Raj and Ben and John said, TJ, Tom, you're a better writer than the other four of us. You mind doing the job? And we'll just, So the 5 members that were drafted, so to speak, to write a Declaration of Independence, got the gig on this date 244 years ago today. June 11th, 1919, 102 years ago today, Sir Barton wins the Belmont Stakes, and by doing that, Sir Barton became the very first horse to win the U.S. Triple Crown. It happened 101 years ago today. June 11th, 1955, 65 years ago today, 83 spectators killed, over 100 injured. The 24-hour of Le Mans, they literally race for 24 hours nonstop. 2 race drivers going back and forth on the same car. There was an accident, deadliest accident in the history of motorsports. The video that you're about to see could be a little disturbing. I just wanted to let you know about that, but here's how the events unfolded 65 years ago today.
It was the day of the toughest motor race on earth, the 24-hour French classic Le Mans. 2 drivers taking alternating turns at the wheel of superbly tuned sports cars, racing day and night. The big brand names were rolling up to the mark: Ferrari, Jaguar, Mercedes-Benz. It promised to be the fastest and most keenly contested race in the history of the event. A sprint start sets the pace. The Le Mans track, spread over 8 miles, is ringed by unprotected spectator stands. There's a crowd of 250,000 following this high-speed marathon. The cars have been racing just 2 hours when at 6:26 p.m. local time, a Mercedes driven by Pierre Levet clips the wheel of another car. It flies through the air and hits a bank next to a spectator enclosure. The car has somersaulted a barrier and cut a terrible swathe through the crowd. People are torn apart. For 60 yards, the sandy ground on one of the tracks is drenched in blood. Witnesses talk of a massacre that had come without warning. 84 people have been killed and 100 injured. Yet the race continues. There would be outrage afterwards. The organizers explained they'd kept the race running in case panicking crowds blocked the exit gates and prevented ambulances from getting through.
Nobody's really blamed for the accident. There was a lot of debate over the blame, but essentially what it came down to was the course itself. The Le Mans course was built in 1923, and back then race cars, they could only go, they topped out at about 60 miles an hour. On the day that that race was held, on the exact same course with very little alterations, race cars could go 170 miles an hour. That was basically the problem. By the way, no seatbelts. The drivers believed that it was much better to be thrown clear in an accident than be trapped in the car. Happened 65 years ago today. And 58 years ago today, keeping the lookout for these guys. They're on the lam. Frank Morris and the Anglin brothers, John and Clarence, escaped from Alcatraz, or did they? Nobody really knows. They never found them again. They might have made it. They might have made it. The Clint Eastwood movie, Escape from Alcatraz, pretty fictional account. It's not a bad movie. But the bottom line is they were never found, and there's always been rumors that Frank Morris, John Anglin, and Clarence Anglin actually made it off Alcatraz and escaped. Who knows? By the way, it's still an open case. Birthdays for you today. The very first woman ever to hold federal office in this country, Jeanette Rankin, was born on this date in 1880. She lived a long time, lived to the age of 92. She remains the only woman Montana has ever elected to Congress. Jeanette Rankin was a pacifist. She voted against declaring war with Germany. In World War I, she voted against declaring war with Japan. In World War II, Jeanette Rankin, born in the state in 1880. The great Vince Lombardi, of course, the Super Bowl winning trophy is named after Vince Lombardi, born in the state in 1913, died of cancer at the age of 57 in 1970. He won 5 NFL championships in 7 years, including the first 2 Super Bowls. Vince Lombardi, born 107 years ago today. We miss Gene Wilder. Of course, Gene passed away a couple of years ago. Not only was he a great actor, very funny guy, he also was a screenwriter. The producers, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Blazing Saddles, Silver Streak, Young Frankenstein, Gene Wilder, born in the state in 1933. Happy birthday to Joe Montana, who won the national championship in 1977 as a quarterback at Notre Dame, played played in and won 4 Super Bowl championships, the first player ever to be the Super Bowl MVP 3 times, the most remarkable statistic about Joe Montana. In the 4 Super Bowls that he played in, and they were all victories, he threw 122 passes, 0 interceptions, and he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame 20 years ago. And happy birthday, this blew me away. Grant texted me to remind me. Madison Olson, Grant's daughter, Maddie is 21 years old today. That can't possibly be true, but it is. I don't have a picture for you, Madison. I'm sorry. Happy 21st birthday to Maddie Olson. She's 21. Wow, time flies. Going to take a break. We got an opinion from Mike Magnotti, and then my interview with Coach Ian Sanderson, the head skipper of the Wenatchee AppleSox. What are they going to do without baseball in 2020? We'll find out with Coach Anderson when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning has been proudly serving the Wenatchee Valley for over 35 years. And just as Dick's has been there for you, they have also been an essential part of our community, supporting local youth sports all year long and your Wenatchee Wild.
Thanks for your support. Thanks, Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, for all your support. Thank you.
Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning, your local, independent, trained comfort specialist. Call 884-6444 today.
Bring the whole family up to Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house in historic downtown Chelan. Applewood smoked brisket, street-style tacos, and our award-winning barbecue rubs and sauces. Our meals pair perfectly with our exciting lineup of craft ales, made right here in Chelan. We've got room for big groups, or give us a call for catering. So grab the kids and check out the fun at Stormy Mountain Brewing and local public house located in the heart of Chelan.
JDSA Law is a proud sponsor of these local sports broadcasts. They've been serving North Central and Eastern Washington since 1946. For over 70 years, their team of dedicated professionals has delivered quality, innovative legal services. JDSA Law partners with you to provide the finest legal advice and support as you navigate your personal and business challenges, risks, and accomplishments. At JDSA Law, they salute our local athletes and wish them well on another excellent season of competition.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog McNulty, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. Now, I recently heard some right-wing evangelical promoting a book he wrote that supposedly compares Donald Trump with persons in the Old Testament. Sure, Trump is a rough character, this Jamoke states, but so was King David, and so were many of the others, the patriarchs. This position, of course, being presented to try to justify Donald Trump as God's man of the hour. I don't think so. Now, sure, King David was even more despicable in his behavior than our current president. I admit that. But to try to justify Trump's shortcomings by using the Old Testament, no, for many reasons. Frankly, there's no better source on how not to behave than by looking at some of the men in the Bible. I mean, it's honestly. To try to justify Trump in this manner, I don't think so. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
The world around us is constantly changing. Major employers in North Central Washington have expressed a need for capable, qualified engineering technologists who can think critically and solve problems. And at Wenatchee Valley College, we listened. We are pleased to offer a Bachelor of Applied Science Engineering Technology degree to provide you with a world of new opportunities. Your time is now. The future is waiting for you.
Welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. It took an act of Congress to finally get Coach Sanderson to be on this program, but we made it work. I wish the circumstances were anything but what they are. Ian Sanderson is the new head coach of the Wenatchee AppleSox, who unfortunately, like the rest of us, are quarantining and practicing safe distancing. You're currently at your home in Puyallup. Is that right, Ian?
Yes, I am spending some time with my fiance up here. So
the beard's looking good, buddy.
Hey, I don't have much reason to go outside, so I'll wait and save some money on the razors right now.
But you're a beard guy anyway. You've had a beard for quite some time, right?
It's very tame when I am looking more professional, I guess we'll say.
So hopefully come maybe in July or August when you're actually at Paul Thomas Senior Field coaching some semblance of the AppleSox, it won't be quite so
A new
ZZ
person.
Topish. Okay, I got you on that one. Ian, before we dive into the nuts and bolts about how you're going to do what you can to help out us baseball fans here in North Central Washington, you're a first timer on the show. Tell the folks at home and our television family a little bit about Coach Sanderson.
Yeah, I spent some time in the West Coast League previously up to Victoria. I was a pitching coach there for the last 2 years. I was with the Gresham Grey Wolves when they were a part of the league for a year. And then at the school, I'm at Lower Columbia College. We've had a lot of success there as a 2-year school, moving guys on as well as winning, and done a lot for the community. And I was excited to get back into Wenatchee, having family in Wenatchee, spending time in Wenatchee as a kid. It was a fun thing. I was actually at my parents' house 2 weekends ago helping out with some stuff in Shelton, Washington, and found a hat that I bought at an AppleSox game in 2002. That was I graduated high school and went over to a game and see some family and bought a hat and still have the hat from 2002.
That's cool. That's a really neat story. I like that. Pitching is your forte. That's your specialty.
Yeah.
Did you pitch when you played?
Yeah, I was a fairly poor pitcher, fairly poor player in general. But yeah, I've kind of done it all. At Lower Columbia, I started out helping the offense. When Coach Smith left, I decided Coach Lane took over and decided that I was going to do pitching, and ever since then, that's just been what it is. And all summer gigs have been pitching. It's kind of where I feel like I'm most valuable to a staff. And so, yeah, that's kind of where I've been and where I spend a lot of my time in the bullpen.
Do you? Is there a pitching coach or a pitching teacher, even though you've readily admitted that you weren't particularly good, but is there a coach or a teacher that you really want to emulate whose philosophy about pitching is something that you're gonna take to the program here in Wenatchee?
You know, there's a couple of them. I haven't actually met him, but more than a few minutes. But everything he had to say about pitching, and John Savage down at UCLA was a really good one. I had time to pick brains of guys that are part of the driveline situation. Pick brains from old, quote unquote, old school guys of like Tom House. And then Kip, who is my cousin, is from Wenatchee, is in the world of baseball. Been able to talk with him and, pick his brain and have him set me up with guys to pick their brains. So it's just kind of a plethora of picking up things along the way.
Well, Kip was an outstanding pitcher. I went to school with him. He's now in the Wenatchee High School Athletic Hall of Fame, and if you can follow Kip his advice, you're gonna do just fine. You got the gig, Ian, and everything was looking great. You're doing your recruiting. You're building your roster for the 2020 season. We all know what happened in March. How have you been able to deal with this from a coaching standpoint? Talking to your players, we're going to try and figure something out. How have you been dealing with this entire situation for the last 3 months or so?
It's been tough because there's moments of disappointment and sadness, I think, in everybody. And you have to remember that as a coach that there's 38 other guys, young men, that are relying on you to kind of lead them down a path of uncertainty. And so, as a coach, you have your sadness and disappointment that you're not going to be able to be on a field, but being able to change that page real quick and get these young men to buy into what we want to do in Wenatchee. It's a lot of time at certain points. It's a lot of phone calls, a lot of text messages, a lot of answering the same question when guys maybe didn't hear what they wanted to hear, some anger. So it's been tough, but it's also been really good. A learning experience for me, but also because we're, never been through something like this in our lifetime, at least my lifetime. And to help some kids develop and mature in this moment is also what coaching is about as well. It's not just on field. So it's been a good thing, but it's been a tough thing.
How much coaching at the collegiate level were you able to do this spring before everything was shut down? Did you have any kind of season at all, any kind of baseball action before the bottom fell out?
Yeah, we had 2 weekend series, so we played 8 games there, and then we had a midweek, and we were actually getting ready to go to Roseburg, Oregon, and play Umpqua, which was a new team to bring back baseball this year. And when we got the call that they couldn't leave the state and they couldn't have anybody in the state, and then we tried to get other teams to come in, and then by the end of the day it was, nope, we're done. We need to pack up. And so we got about 8 games in.
Which is sad, indeed. But you've been in touch with Jose Oglesby and with Kenny Osborne at the front office, and I hope your staff. Provided we can get to some sort of baseball, be it practice games or maybe come up and take on the Pickles or go down to Portland, or where are we now from strictly a baseball standpoint, Coach? Where are we with this?
As long as we can get into phase 3, we're going to try to provide something for the community. And that was the first time we talked about it publicly, is we're going to offer some training 3 to 4 days a week in Wenatchee. And then we're going to try to set up, I guess the best way we've come up for is more of a sandlot type baseball. Get as many guys, high school guys and college guys. I think it's important to involve all baseball players that missed out this year. Give them an opportunity to get on a field. And so we're going to do that. We're going to try to intermix teams. We're going to try to put, the college pitchers that we get against college hitters. And then some of the high school guys are going to mix in with that. So it doesn't, it's not a little lopsided, but we're just going to try to provide an outlet for all the baseball players that missed 2020.
And it's not just honing their skills for a future world in baseball. It's just hanging around with the guys and just playing baseball and having fun. Which isn't happening.
Yeah, and so we've extended the offer to everybody that was on the 2020 AppleSox roster, whether they're from the Washington area or want to come in from a different area. We're offering them the same option. We want to offer and extend, the outreach to all the high schools in the area. I think we're going to put sophomore, juniors, and seniors with I'm not quite sure about incoming freshmen being mixed in with college players. Just the level might be a little bit too much for them. And so it might not be quite as productive and fun as they would want. But we're going to put it together. We're really hoping to go forward. We've had some good conversations with players, good conversations with college coaches that are excited about this opportunity and want to get guys to Wenatchee for, a 4 to 5 week period and just let them get it, so work in, and then come back to school ready to go.
Well, you'll be happy to know, and I'm sure you know this already. Again, we're talking to Coach Ian Sanderson, the new head coach of the Wenatchee AppleSox. The Wenatchee Valley, the North Central Washington area, is a hotbed for baseball talent. Wenatchee High School, Eastmont High School, Cashmere, Chelan, out to Moses Lake, out in the Columbia Basin. There's really good high school teams, really good Legion teams. I don't know where they are with the Legion, American Legion baseball season this year, but there is some guys out there who can play baseball right here in our backyard. Absolutely, and
you can go back to the Ian Sagdahl from Eastmont to Dustin Driver, back Wenatchee from years ago, and then you can go back even farther than that, just to find players that are really high talent, and then you reach to the Legion teams that are in the Moses Lake, the Brewster areas. Brewster's had some good upcoming, young talent recently. Cashmere's always a consistent. So that was one of the reasons why I thought it was important to open up to the high school ranks, is I think a lot of these kids from the area can play at a collegiate level and can compete against some collegiate guys. And so it gives the college players to get work, but it also gives the high school guys that may be going in to play college baseball, okay, this is what it's about, and this is where I need to get my level of play at. And so it's been fun to start, okay, now we got to shift gears. We're off to the college. We're off of winning as many games as possible. We're off of, the traveling all the time. Let's get back and focus a little bit on the fun and the excitement and the community of baseball. And then the community of Wenatchee on top of that.
Yeah, and Wenatchee loves baseball. Wenatchee loves the AppleSox, and I can't wait to actually see you in person. A couple more questions, Ian, and then we'll cut you loose. As far as I don't know if Legion, American Legion baseball is going to be playing at all this year. I don't have that information in front of me. Is there any chance at all, if we get to Phase 3, that we'll play actual games, be it the Portland Pickles, who are the only other West Coast team is going to try and do something? Any kind of organized baseball games that aren't necessarily Sandlot? Is that just pie in the sky thinking, or is that maybe a possibility? Because come August, these kids got to go back to school.
Yeah, I think there's some possibilities. I think we need to see the response of the local community as far as baseball guys want to be involved in things this summer. I don't want to promise too much and then not deliver anything, but I think our goal is to have at least a handful of competitive, real tight baseball games. Now, again, all depends on the Phase 3. It depends on how safe players feel coming here and all that kind of stuff. So it's hard to say 100% yes, but it's our goal to get some form of structured baseball in Wenatchee. But also, I think we're going to run it well enough, the Sandlot style, that it could look as a structured game. I think we're going to try to have umpires. We're going to have jerseys on guys and try to, see if we can incorporate some of the high school coaches that are around to come out and coach some of the teams. And we haven't quite reached out personally yet. I know we've sent some feelers out there on that, but try to get high school coaches involved too, because they missed out on the 2020 season. So for us, our goal is to have games, but it's more important, I think, as an organization to get a little bit of positive and baseball back to people, not necessarily just one group of people, but give it back to everybody that missed out on a 2020.
And that includes the fans. We miss baseball. We miss AppleSox baseball.
Yeah, I was really excited because as an opposing coach, I didn't like having the fans that close to me. Sometimes you would have to go in the corner and kind of mumble under your breath that, God, I'm tired of these people right here just on top of every decision I'm making here. But now you're on the other side of it, so you were excited about being around all the fans that had that passion and the excitement. And, even as a visiting coach, we still loved it. We loved the atmosphere and all that. But now it was nice to be on the other side, so I didn't have to maybe take as many deep breaths.
For those of you who are unfamiliar, Paul Thomas Senior Stadium, the bullpens are just right off the foul lines down each side, and the kids and the fans can just sit right there and sit no more than 4 or 5 feet away and watch the pitchers warm up. So I feel for you there, Coach.
Yeah, it was fun, though. I mean, the interaction with the young kids that come in is phenomenal. And then you have the quote-unquote old-timers that have been part of the Wenatchee organization as fans since day one that still come around. They expect a lot of positive stuff out of the AppleSox, and it was fun. It's fun. I was really excited, and, we've had to adjust. And it's not the easiest adjustment, and like I said, we all missed out on something, so we're going to try to do our best to bring something back and give something back to not necessarily just the baseball community, but the community of Wenatchee as well. And hopefully we can get fans in there and come out. Maybe we can have some fan BP day and, just get people around. We're still kicking around a ton of ideas of how to incorporate the community and the community of baseball together.
I could envision what you're talking about, Coach, some sort of a mini baseball fest when we get
Yes.
all the players who were supposed to be on the roster who can come up here to Wenatchee, plus the top high school talent, get them all together, let them go out and hone their skills. I'd pay admission to watch that.
Yeah, I think we'd all pay to see Jose get out there and take a couple ground balls and take a couple hacks.
Oh, I'm sure Mr. Oglesby would be the first one in the batter's box. One last question, Ian. I'm going to cut you loose. We got a couple of new assistant coaches who are going to be joining you eventually when we start baseball. Talk about the two folks who you're going to be bringing in with you.
You know, as of right now, some things have had to adjust, as everything has. Branson Truby has been part of the Gonzaga baseball program as a grad assistant. And, you know, he's going to be a big one. I think it's important to have him around. You know, the other coach that was supposed to be around, things didn't quite work out with the situation. And so what we may do is we may reach out to high school coaches and say, hey, I'd like you to come be a part of it and get your time. I may reach out to some other organizations that are in the West Coast League and say, hey, why don't you come down and coach, and we can make this a West Coast League collaboration type thing. Maybe just, you know, some guys that I know through the baseball community, see if we can get a couple of, you know, quote unquote special guests to come out and help. So it's, you know, we need coaches, and I think Truby's going to be good, but we're going to try to get as many of the good minds as we can to come out and help players. And
yeah, Ian, we got to cut you loose. I know we're running out of time. Just so you know, if we all get together and have a chance, I have a pitch that's unique to me, and I'd be more than happy to teach it to you and to your staff. The position of the thumb under the baseball is really the key, but the pitch, Ian, starts out fast. On its way to the plate, it slows down, and then the last 5 feet, it speeds back up again. So I learned
it from the fake baseball.
Yeah, I learned it from Bugs Bunny. It's a devastating pitch.
Yeah, mine just start out slow and end up slow.
Oh, you know what? I'm going on record right now. I will pay $20 to watch you throw batting practice to Jose. I'm there.
Well, one of us is going to have to be helped off the field after that. I'm not saying it's him, and I'm not saying it's me, but one of us is going to be hurting after that.
Ian Sanderson is the new head coach of the Wenatchee AppleSox. We look forward to seeing you here in Wenatchee. We hope real soon, and we hope we got baseball real soon at Paul Thomas Senior Field. Ian, thanks for checking in with us, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, and we hope we can do something for the community soon.
We know times are a little different right now, but we wanted to let you know that we have you covered. So during this time, you can focus more about the important things in life, like your home, friends, yourself, and your family.
This is the best tea party ever.
If you have family or friends who need guidance through this unique time, please share this valuable information. We want them to be able to enjoy what matters in life.
And we are back. The clouds are still hanging around. A couple of raindrops here, a couple of raindrops there. 58 degrees. Let's take a look at that forecast one more time. And it is all over the place. First of all, we're going to be at a lot warmer. We'll be at 81 today. Yesterday's high was 76, and we only got to 63 on Tuesday. So the warm-up continues, but there's a lot of instability in the atmosphere, and that means we have a chance of a late afternoon thunderstorm around 3, 4, 5 o'clock. Those thunder cells could be popping up. Lots of clouds, light rain all over the Wenatchee Valley. And again, a high of right around 81 degrees. 58, 59, right around there for the overnight low. I get lingering showers possible tonight. Friday, not bad. Partly cloudy, a little bit of light rain. A high of about 80. And then look how cold we get on Saturday. We drop way down as the system begins to come through. So a little wet and a little cool on Saturday. It's certainly a possibility. High of only 69. We rebound a little bit on Sunday. Sunday doesn't look bad at all, actually. Quite a bit of sunshine. High of 73. We're between systems. Another system comes in Monday. And it'll be unsettled for most of next week as well. Be good, be safe. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.